Mazda's gearing up to launch the 2026 CX-5, and early details point to a bigger body, more space inside, and the most high-tech cabin the nameplate's ever had. The twist? All that new sheet metal and digital flash is still paired with the same old 2.5-liter engine, which could make or break its shot against hybrid-heavy rivals. Hello everyone, this is Scott from CarlandTV. It's time to hop in the front seat because today, we're going to talk about what Mazda really changed on the 2026 CX-5 and what they didn't. But first, do me a quick favor. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now let's get back into it. Bigger, bolder, restyled. The second I saw the early shots of the 2026 Mazda CX-5, I knew this wasn't just a nip and tuck job. Mazda went in and stretched this thing 5 inches longer than the old model, and the wheelbase grew the same amount. That doesn't sound huge on paper, but in person, it makes the SUV look way more planted, almost like it's sitting on a bigger set of shoulders. It finally looks ready to square up with heavy hitters, like the RAV4 and CR-V, instead of feeling like the smaller player in the fight. The face is sharper now, slimmer LED headlights with new signatures, a wider grille that's wrapped in glossy black trim, and black cladding around the wheel, arches, and skirts. It's got that blend of rugged and premium that a lot of buyers want right now. Spin it around to the back and you'll see something Mazda hasn't done before. They ditched the old badge for bold Mazda lettering stretched across the tailgate. The taillights are tighter and darker, pulling inspiration from the CX-70 and CX-90, and yeah, dual exhaust tips are still there, just a little cleaner. Mazda's own design boss said this is the next step in their Kodo design language, and it shows. They didn't blow up the CX-5's identity. You can still tell what it is from a mile away, but the lines are crisper, the stance is stronger, and it looks flat out more upscale. And that extra size? That's exactly what sets up the big improvements inside the cabin. More space where it matters. One of the biggest complaints folks had about the old CX-5 was space. Rear seats felt a little tight, cargo wasn't quite stacking up against the RAV4 or CR-V, and Mazda clearly heard it. That's why the 2026 CX-5 grows by 4.5 inches in length and stretches the wheelbase the same amount. That change isn't just cosmetic. It translates directly into real gains where you feel it most, the back seat and the cargo area. Mazda says the second row now delivers class-leading knee and legroom, and honestly, that's a huge brag in this segment. The longer wheelbase means rear passengers don't feel like they're crammed in on road trips anymore. Getting in and out should be easier, too. Mazda widened the rear door opening so you're not doing yoga moves trying to buckle a kid into a car seat. Cargo capacity numbers aren't official yet, but with that extra stretch, expect more room behind the seats compared to the outgoing CX-5, which sat around 30.9 cubic feet. That should push it closer to what the RAV4 offers, which is 37.6 cubic feet. It's a smart play because buyers in this segment care about space just as much as looks. And it's not just about raw numbers. The longer stance makes the whole cabin feel airier and more upscale, and that sets the tone for the tech-heavy, premium interior Mazda's rolling out. Which brings me straight into the next part of the story. The monster new screens and Google-powered system running the show. Tech overload. Step inside the 2026 CX-5, and the first thing that smacks you in the face is the screen game. Mazda finally ditched the old 25-inch setup and rotary controller, and they went big, 12.9-inch touchscreen standard, with an available 15.6-inch display. That's the largest screen Mazda's ever offered in any vehicle, period. And this isn't just for show. It runs Google built in, which means you've got Google Maps, Google Assistant, and the Play Store baked right in. No subscription nonsense. That's a big deal because rivals like Toyota and Honda still lean on their own software, which can feel clunky compared to a native Google system. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, so if you're an iPhone or Samsung loyalist, you're still covered. Right behind the wheel, the gauge cluster is finally going fully digital. No more mix of analog dials like the outgoing CX-5. Mazda hasn't published exact sizes for that display yet, but all signs point to it being standard across trims. What makes this interesting is the way Mazda designed the interior around it. The old rotary controller is gone, physical climate controls are gone, everything lives on the screen now. Some folks won't love that, but it opens up the center console, adds more storage, and makes the whole cabin look way cleaner. So between the giant screens, Google integration, and a fully digital cluster, the CX-5's tech finally feels like it belongs in 2026. And that plays right into Mazda's bigger push to move this SUV up market with a more premium cabin feel. Cabin goes premium. Sliding into the 2026 CX-5, You can tell Mazda's dead serious about pushing this SUV upmarket. The old cabin always looked good for the price, but this new one, it feels like they raided a luxury brand's playbook. The dual-tone color schemes pop way more than the all-black interiors we've been stuck with, and the materials look cleaner and richer all around. Mazda's clearly aiming to make you second-guess if you even need to shop Acura or Lexus. The steering wheel's all new, flatter airbag cover, buttons laid out tighter, and it just looks sharper in your hands. And here's a little detail I dig. The traditional Mazda logo's gone. In its place, bold Mazda, lettering dead center, same deal you see across the tailgate. It's subtle branding, but it makes the whole thing feel fresher. Look down at the center console and you'll spot one of the biggest changes. The rotary controller's history. Everything runs through that big touchscreen now. Love it or hate it, that move freed up space and gives you more storage up front. Combine that with those diagonal grab handles on the doors, new trim lines stretching across the dash, and the cleaner overall layout, and it feels more modern, more upscale, and honestly, less cluttered. Mazda hasn't spilled all the trim details yet, but expect a solid mix of high-quality faux leather with genuine leather on the top trims. Bottom line, the cabin's where Mazda shows it's leveling up, but then you pop the hood, and the story feels way too familiar. Same old heart. Now here's where things get tricky. The 2026 Mazda CX-5 might look brand new on the outside and feel premium inside, but under the hood, same old setup. Mazda is stuck with the 2.5-liter, naturally aspirated four-cylinder that's been running this lineup for nearly 15 years. It makes 187 horsepower and 185 pound-feet of torque, paired to the same 6-speed automatic. All-wheel drive is still standard, which is a plus, but that torque number is actually down a hair, 1 pound-feet less than the outgoing model. When we tested this engine in the 2025 CX-5 Carbon Edition, the takeaway was clear: reliable, smooth, but short on grunt, especially when you need passing power or when the SUV's loaded with people and gear. And here's what is impressive. There's a turbo option at launch. That's a blow, because the old 2.5 turbo made up to 256 horsepower on premium fuel, and it gave the CX-5 a real edge over the RAV4 and CR-V. Mazda says its own hybrid powertrain is coming in 2027, built in-house instead of borrowing Toyota's setup like the CX-50 does. But that leaves a gap. Rivals like the 2026 Toyota RAV4 are already going hybrid only, which makes the CX-5's aging powertrain stick out in a market that's shifting fast. So yeah, you get proven reliability, but performance and efficiency aren't moving forward yet. And that raises the big question: can Mazda afford to wait another year on hybrid tech when the competition's already there? The hybrid problem. Here's the part that makes me scratch my head. The 2026 CX-5 is rolling into showrooms early next year. But if you're hoping to grab one with a hybrid badge, you're flat out of luck until 2027. Mazda's building their own in-house system, and they're not ready to launch it yet. That means every 2026 CX-5 on the lot is still rocking the old-school 2.5-liter gas engine, while the competition's already 2 steps ahead. Look around. Toyota just made the 2026 RAV4 a hybrid-only lineup. Honda's been pushing the CR-V hybrid hard, and Hyundai and Kia are stacking hybrids and plug-ins across their SUV range. Buyers are showing up expecting choices, and Mazda's handing them one engine. That's a tough sell in a segment this crowded. Now, the CX-50 gets away with offering a hybrid here in the US, but that's only because Mazda builds it alongside the Toyota Corolla Cross in Alabama, so they can borrow Toyota's proven hybrid setup. The CX-5, built in Japan, all Mazda, which means no shortcuts. Long-term, that's smart. Mazda wants control over its own tech. Short-term, though, it leaves a hole big enough for rivals to steal sales. And here's the reality. Gas isn't getting cheaper, and buyers know it. Hybrids are pulling strong reliability scores and saving folks real money at the pump. By waiting until 2027, Mazda risks losing buyers who won't hang around. So yeah, design and tech are spot on, but the hybrid gap could be what stings. Launch, timing, and takeaway. So here's the bottom line. The 2026 Mazda CX-5 is set to hit dealerships in early 2026, and Mazda's betting big on the changes they made. Longer body, more cabin space, sharper design, and tech that finally feels modern with those massive touchscreens and Google integration. For a lot of buyers, that's going to be enough. This SUV is still Mazda's bread and butter, and with the improvements to space and cabin quality, it's clearly more competitive than the outgoing model. But you can't ignore what's missing. At launch, the only powertrain is the 2.5-liter four-cylinder with 187 horsepower. Reliable? Sure. Exciting? Not really. And with Toyota making the RAV4 hybrid only for 2026 and Honda leaning hard into electrified options, Mazda's sticking with an aging gas engine feels like a misstep. Their in-house hybrid is coming in 2027, and that's when the CX-5 will really be able to stand toe-to-toe in this segment. The problem is, 1 year is a long time when buyers are shopping for hybrids right now. So what's the move? If you love Mazda's driving feel, want more space, and don't care about hybrid efficiency yet, the 2026 CX-5 is still a solid buy when it drops. But if fuel savings and future-proofing matter to you, it's worth waiting until 2027 for the hybrid. Either way, Mazda made the CX-5 bigger, bolder, and more premium. But whether that's enough in a hybrid-hungry market, that's the question every buyer's got to answer.